All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into something, well, pretty personal, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's something a lot of people struggle with, the whole idea of faith,
Sure.
and mental health.
Definitely.
They seem so separate, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
But
Not at all.
Not at all, right? So we're using this podcast called Kingdom SoulFuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty interesting listen, and they have a very specific viewpoint on how all this works.
Yeah.
From
A Christian perspective.
yeah, a Christian perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
We're really looking at how, those teachings and even practices, like really practical stuff, can help people.
You know what's interesting about this whole topic, too,
Yeah.
is that for a lot of people, like when things get really tough, that's when they turn to
Oh, for sure.
their faith for comfort,
Exactly.
right? So Kingdom SoulFuel, they start off with this verse.
It's Psalm 34.8, and it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit."
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful,
Yeah.
But sometimes, I got to be honest,
Yeah.
when I'm really struggling, verses like that,
I know.
they just, I don't know, feel a little
Yeah.
distant.
A little too, like, picture perfect.
Yes.
And I think it's important to remember that, the Bible, it's not this collection of, feel-good phrases. Like,
Yeah.
it's real. It's
raw.
It's raw. It's these people who, they went through it.
Yeah.
They really did.
Like who?
Well, I mean, think about David.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, pouring his heart out in the Psalms,
Yeah.
all that despair, the anger, Elijah, battling discouragement. I mean, even Jesus in Gethsemane. I mean,
Wow.
talk about anguish.
That's a good point. I never really thought about it that way.
It's not about
Pretending everything's perfect.
right.
It's about acknowledging the struggle is real.
Yeah.
And even,
Yeah.
people we look up to
Yeah.
went through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that leads to this,
Yeah.
Kingdom SoulFuel really emphasizes this idea of prayer and meditation.
Okay.
And it's not just about,
Yeah.
saying the words.
Right.
It's about creating this space
Yeah.
for stillness and reflection and connection.
But how? I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I try to pray and I'm just like,
Oh,
my mind is,
racing.
yes, 1,000,000 miles a minute.
And that's where I think this idea of surrender comes in, right?
Okay.
Philippians 4.6-7.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about shoving those worries away.
Right.
It's more like acknowledging them and then consciously, handing them over.
Yeah.
It's like saying,
Yeah.
okay, this is too much for me to handle.
I trust you with it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really good.
It's that release, right?
Yeah, it is.
Not about erasing it all instantly.
Right.
And that also kind of ties into what they say about community.
Oh, yeah, they talk a lot about community, especially within, a church setting, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I know having that group of friends from church has been
it's huge.
so helpful.
It really is, because think about it. When you're struggling,
Yeah.
it's so easy to just
Isolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where,
Yeah.
having that community, it's like this built-in
Yeah.
safety net, right?
It is.
People who get it.
They get it.
Sharing burdens.
Yeah.
Celebrating joys.
Yeah.
Knowing you're not alone.
It is so important.
Yeah.
And, on that topic of support,
Yeah.
Kingdom SoulFuel doesn't shy away from
No, don't.
professional help either.
Yeah.
They actually say that,
Yeah.
seeking therapy or counseling, that doesn't conflict with faith.
Doesn't at all.
Yeah.
It's so important to remember that. It's
Yeah.
just like we see a doctor, when we're physically not feeling well,
Totally.
taking care of our mental health,
Yeah,
it's self-care.
it is.
And God works through those skilled professionals,
Right,
whether
right.
it's, a therapist, a counselor. It's not one or the other.
Mhm.
They can work together
Absolutely.
beautifully.
And, at the end, they really leave us with this message of hope and healing.
Yeah.
And they bring up Romans 15.33,
Mm-hmm.
which talks about being filled with
Yeah.
joy and peace
Yeah.
through faith.
And it just ties everything together
It does.
so beautifully. You
Yeah.
know, it's that reminder
Yeah.
that even when things are tough,
Yeah,
there's that capacity for healing,
Yeah.
for restoration.
it really is.
It's not denying the hard stuff. Right.
It's believing things can get better.
Yeah, and they do.
They do.
So anyone listening out there and you're wrestling with these things,
Yeah.
just remember faith and mental health. They're not enemies. They're not opposing forces.
Yeah.
They can coexist.
They can,
they can intertwine.
They can even strengthen each other.
They can. Yeah.
It really makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Like if mental health is just part of the human experience, like the Bible suggests,
Yeah.
how can we be better? How can we support those who are struggling?
Yeah.
How can we make spaces in our faith communities and beyond where people feel safe to open up to get help?
Without judgment.
Yeah, that's something we're thinking about.
It really is, so.
Yeah.
That's all for our deep dive today. But we hope this gave you some...
food for thought.
Yeah, some food for thought and maybe even some hope. So we'll see you next time.
See you then.
Bye!